Hi, and welcome to the Tranquil Cottage Knits podcast. I'm your host, Michelle. You can find me on Ravelry as Tranquil Cottage. You can find me on Instagram as Tranquil Cottage Knits, and you can find the blog at www.tranquilcottageknits.weebly.com for just a little while longer until I finish the web design on the new www.tranquilcottageknits.com website. So that is exciting news. I'm kind of working on doing my design, and it's been so long since I've worked on graphics, so that's, I think, going to be my biggest challenge. But my husband is very, very techy and very awesome, so I'm sure that it's all going to come together beautifully. I am not recording in the yard today. Imagine that. Every Sunday, which if this is not your first rodeo with me, you know every Sunday I tend to record outside in the yard with my dogs and my coffee and occasionally my husband. But if this is your first time, thank you for giving me a shot. Welcome. And today I'm actually in the house. I'm in my kitchen with the kitchen door closed. I already tried to record like 4 times and the dogs just will not leave me alone. They didn't get a chance to play outside today because of the rain. It has been a drizzly, rainy, cold, wet Sunday. And so since they haven't gotten the chance to play, they are just everywhere all at once. And they're big dogs. So I actually recorded this once already where they both came up and gave me kisses and like were sniffing in my hair like I had treats hidden behind my ears or something. So I gave up and I just took them for their walks, pretty much kicking and screaming. They do not like getting their feet wet. How is Callie a Labrador Retriever and has no idea that she should like water? She hates water. Hates water. It is a pain to get her to go out with me, and I can get her on the kayak. She's actually better on the kayak than she is putting her feet in the water. Go figure. I keep trying to tell her she's a lab. She's having none of it. Tucker, he's kind of the same way. Take him out and he's just pulling to come back in. And I'm like, no, you have to go potty. So, but it was crazy. So this week I am recording indoors. Got the lovely smell of lemon chicken that's cooking on the stove. That's what we're having tonight for dinner. And I kind of hoped it might clear up a little, at least for a few hours, so I could go outside and podcast. But that didn't happen. So while I'm releasing this a little bit later than normal, it is still my typical Sunday podcast. It's just indoors, and it's a little too late to have coffee, so I have iced tea. We're all good. We could deal with that, right? So, let's see. This week, oh my goodness, it was a hard week. So hard. Having said that, I have no right to complain. None whatsoever. I went back to work from my Rhinebeck vacation. I went back to work on Wednesday. I tried really hard to post a reentry to the workforce picture on Instagram. I was a little ashamed, so I didn't post it. But that's it. That was me coming back to work on Wednesday. It was bad. And, as workloads go and as the week goes, Thursday was a little better. And on Friday, on Friday I posted a Post-it note. Go figure. But it says, I just want to sit in my comfy chair and watch old reruns while I knit. # not enough coffee, # knitters blues. And I was definitely singing the knitters blues this week. Coming back from Rhinebeck and seeing all the inspiration and all the amazing photos that I took, and which not terribly many have made it up on Instagram. Mostly the ones of the sheep, because who can resist sheep? But just all of the amazing inspiration that was there and some of the patterns that just really kind of captivated me. And having come home with absolutely zero yarn, I was going to work on my Rhinebeck sweater, but I thought I just kind of needed a little palette cleanser in between putting it down and picking it back up. So I had started working on one of my sketched out shawl designs, and I started that at Rhinebeck, and realized the next section I'm not crazy about, so I've got to rework that. But I just kind of wanted, I don't want to say mindless, but I wanted just a little small palette cleanser or something. And so I whipped this one out. Little fishies. This is the Beach Baby pattern by Christine Wilkins, and it is available on Ravelry. The Ravelry pattern page for this will link you to the Petite Pearls website where the pattern is actually listed, and Christine Wilkins has several other patterns in Ravelry that you could check out. This is a free pattern, and I just thought it was adorable. This yarn is Patons Classic Wool in charcoal, I want to say charcoal or dark gray. And they're navy blue, and this creamy color is actually I don't remember the name of it, but it's their tweed. It's got the blue and gray flecks on the white background in their tweed. But it is adorable, and I made the 1 to 2 year size, so it is still damp from being washed and blocked, and I hope the recipient likes it. I hope that it fits somebody small and snuggly and that they enjoy wearing it. Patons Classic Wool is kind of a workhorse yarn for me. I know a lot of people like Lamb's Pride and things like that for a workhorse, but this is obviously meant to be worn over top of something, so the warmth is for me more of a factor with this one than the next to skin baby softness. So again, I hope the recipient likes it. It came in a little darker. It looks a little, I didn't see much in the water, but it does look like the blue slightly bled onto the white. But I also know that it tends to be a little darker when it's wet and lightens up when it dries, so I'm hoping it's going to lighten back up to where it was. But if not, it's still adorable, beautiful. The fishies are all still well defined. So yay, finished object. And again, this is the 1 to 2 year size and the Beach Baby pattern by Christine Wilkins, free pattern available on Ravelry. So that was my little palette cleanser. And then I was looking through my stash, having not purchased any yarn at Ravelry, having not purchased any yarn at Rhinebeck. Now I'm wondering if the last time I mentioned Rhinebeck, did I call it Ravelry as well? But having not purchased any yarn, I came home and I kind of went through my stash to see what I had and maybe rekindle some of those old fires. And one of the things I had found was a pattern that I had fallen in love with. It was a Craftsy kit, and I had ordered it right when I saw it. Craftsy had a big sale, and this was one of my things I had fallen in love with. And I don't know where the disconnect for me came in, but when I looked at it, maybe it's in my head, but I was looking at it thinking, oh, this is like a thick, chunky scarf. When you look at the pattern, it is clearly, well, pretty clearly, not thick, and also not chunky. And let's see if I can get the front page here. Okay. See, it doesn't look thick. It doesn't look chunky either. I'm wondering if all of the texture that's in the scarf, the differing textures here, made it seem like it was thicker to me. Even when I got the yarn, which Amy Beth from the Fat Squirrel Speaks spoke pretty highly of the Clawborn yarns. She says it, a little toothy. It's not like a baby alpaca or anything, but it's also a really soft wool still. But she said it runs thin. So when I got the yarn, I didn't even I didn't even pay attention because it is a heathered gray. And so in the skein, it just kind of all blended together. And so I didn't even think about thickness at that point. It wasn't until I actually wound the yarn to cast this project on that I was like, wow, this really is a fingering. Even when I read the label and it said Cloudborn Highland Fingering, it didn't dawn on me. So, but you can see it is very much just a normal fingering. I don't feel like it runs, this one specifically runs thin, but it is definitely a fingering weight. And I'm happy with it. But then I started thinking, what were you on that you fell for a fingering weight scarf? Okay. Time for a true knit fashion. My husband, whom I adore him. He's wonderful and lovely in so many ways. He has, since we pretty much met, wanted a scarf, and I've started like 3 scarves for him, and he has never once gotten a finished scarf because I hate knitting scarves. Something about the knit, 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 turn, knit, 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 turn makes me feel like old style typewriters where it's just like ding. It drives me nuts. I find them to be the absolute most boring thing to knit. I love that man, and he still doesn't have a scarf. That means on the scale of affection, if my middle ground is here, okay, this is my neutral point. I love him like not even in here, not even in the screen, like way out here. But that means that my hatred of knitting scarves is further in the opposite direction. Totally further in the opposite direction. Way further in the opposite direction. So much so that my darling husband, who is just so amazing in so many ways, might be wearing a scarf from Walmart. I'm a horrible shrew of a wife. True knit fashions. So I was very, very dubious about my ability to commit to this scarf. I still am. But, there is a but. I like the yarn. The yarn is bouncy yet toothy and very woolly. It feels very natural to me, very what I would expect a good wool yarn to be. And I love it. I really love it. I love the gray. Another thing that I love juxtaposition. And when I look at that pattern, there's all of these textural differences, and the textures change really frequently. And so, to me, that is fun. That is just kind of out there. You know, I'm changing texture and I'm changing texture again. And oh, let's throw this texture in between, you know, maybe a little bit bigger swath of that texture and that texture. To me, that's a party. You don't get bored doing that because you're constantly changing what you're knitting. And I love the feeling of the different textures as I knit them. So maybe I'm knitting something that feels bumpy, and then all of a sudden I'm knitting something that feels very smooth, and then something that feels ridgy, and I love that. That keeps me going as a knitter. But this is what I would call a very stoic color. It's reserved. It drinks wine that I've never heard of. It doesn't attend the texture change parties. Maybe, after working in its law office for several months, and, you know, having a few big cases and not really going out on any dates, Heather Gray decided it was going to take a chance and possibly, decided to go out with a friend that somebody at the firm fixed them up with. And that was Party Girl Texture. Party Girl Texture, like, seriously, she already graduated college and she still goes back to frat parties. That's Texture. So to me, the marrying of these two things is absolutely lovely. All of this, just touch me, feel me, I'm so different here and there, versus we're not having this conversation and we have to make sure nobody scratches my car in the parking lot, to I don't care if it's raining, let's drive with the top down. So I just love that the texture changes so quickly and that it's a little flighty, and I just love that. And the effect is so reserved. And so all of that to say that I'm actually really, really happy with this pattern and this yarn and the combination of the two. So much so that I literally cast this on Friday night, and did not get past this little garter ridge at the very bottom. And I already have this much knit and fingering weight scarf. So much so, I know, it's wild and crazy. When I got to this seed stitch portion, I could actually see how the pattern was going already. And it said to stop after 12 rows of seed stitch. And I said, I might actually go up to like 30. And I did. Crazy. But I was just enjoying it so much. And my friend Becky, Wrapped in Wool, she hates seed stitch. And I love it. She loves the texture. We always joke, I hate finishing things, and we always joke that I'm going to have her do my finishing and I'll do her seed stitch. Match made in heaven, right? But you can see this comes out to have, it's a rectangular scarf with pointed ends. So I guess that's not rectangular, but whatevs. But it's not thick. It's not, even if I were to take this and kind of bunch it up around my neck, it doesn't feel weighty. It feels very light, but at the same time, it's very warm. So I am really in love with this pattern. And again, it is the Architexture, ARCHITEXTURE scarf by Jennifer Weissman. I got the kit through Craftsy, and I'm using the Craftsy Cloudborn Highland fingering in charcoal gray. I love it. I am so happy with this pattern and this yarn. Go Jennifer Weissman! Design more stuff! I like this. So, again, this is, I think, going to be my carry with me knitting. So it'll be in my knitting bag going to work and to knit nights. And I think I might go back to having my Rhinebeck sweater, my Slinky Ribs, be my at-home knitting. All I have left really on it is just one sleeve, and then to do the neckline and put on the buttons. That's all I really have to do to it. But just with the temperature that it was like 75 at Rhinebeck. There was no way I was wearing a wool sweater. Not happening. Not happening. This girl gets way too sweaty, way too easy. Wool sweater was not happening. I was in a t-shirt. Just saying. So, that is what I have been knitting. Speaking of Becky, Wrapped in Wool, she's just checking with me to see how my weekend was going. So, you've seen, oh, it looks like my little bean is sick. Her son is sick. Oh, poor guy. So this, again, is Jennifer Wilkins Beach Baby sweater. All done and washed and almost dry. This is Jennifer Weissman Architecture Scarf Craftsy Kit, Cloudborn Highline Fingering. loving it, eating this pattern up. I am still working on some of my shell patterns, and I had an idea for a section and I don't really like how it turned out, so I'm frogging that section and kind of reworking it. So that's where that is. Other than that, I am still unpacking from Rhinebeck, so I have not gotten all the business cards from all the lovely, lovely knitters that I've met while I was there, but that will be coming. Just give me a little bit of time, and the lemon chicken should be done soon. That's what's for dinner tonight, and so hopefully I will be showing a lot of progress on this scarf the next time I record. Also, it is still supposed to be rainy next weekend. Yuck. So we may be inside again, which may mean that I'll podcast later than I normally do and get the episode up later. It's just a bit easier to do with the dogs when I can just shut the kitchen door and get a little bit of peace and quiet. So life is good. Life is crazy. Life is very loud with the dogs barking. But I had a good week. I'm back in the swing of things. I hope you guys are. All of you who got to go to Rhinebeck. Thank you again to everybody I met. You were all just so absolutely lovely and wonderful, and made the trip just such a joy for me. Made it just so much fun. And so I'm so glad to have met all of you guys. And thank you for my co-pilot, Becky, wrapped in wool, and Amy Beth, when I got to meet her. She's fantastic and lovely, as well as also was her mom, Sandra. So it was just such a good event. It really was wonderful. I got to meet the Sockomatician, and I found so many new podcasts to watch, and it is so awesome because I was kind of running out. I do all of my crime podcasts, and I realized I was starting to run thin. So I have so many new people to keep up with, and it's just wonderful. So that is it from the lovely Shenandoah Valley on a rainy, rainy, rainy Sunday. The next time I talk to you guys, Halloween will be over, and it will be November. How is this happening? It's crazy. But Christmas. The Christmas knitting has to start. Have you started the Christmas knitting yet? I haven't. So, we'll see. We'll see. But I do hope you have a wonderful week, and I look forward to talking to everybody next weekend. And if you have any comments or questions about what I'm knitting, then hit me up on Instagram or Ravelry or anywhere else you could find me. I'm around. Talk to you later, guys. Bye.